Okay, everybody. My name is Jeff Dornik. I'm here with Jerry Wayne. I'm the co-founder of the American Conservative Movement. But Jerry and I wanted to come to you with kind of an announcement that we wanted to bring to everybody. And so Jerry, I know you and I have kind of been talking off and on for quite a while now, trying to piece together and figure out like how we're actually supposed to respond to a lot of these big government kind of power grabs and that sort of thing. What do you think is the best way to be letting the government know, like, hey, you guys are going way overboard right now with your big government regulations right now?
That's a good question. I think that the way that we've been doing things so far is a good way to do it. With these rallies in places like Lansing and Madison and Las Vegas, I think we're doing a very good job. But at the same time, I think it's important to keep our social distancing because you got to think although we're there to make our voices be heard, we're also there to set an example. Like, yeah, a lot of people don't think that the coronavirus is as bad as it actually the media is letting on, which be that as it may, but people do die from this, and we do need to take proper precautions to keep people safe at the same time set a good example.
Yeah, and so I think let's start out with the problem, right? So the problem that we're seeing right now is we've got the government that's responding to this coronavirus crisis with really crazy big government overreaches and power grabs, and they're completely throwing our Constitution out the window. Things like freedom of speech, taking away our right to peaceably assemble. Even in some places, taking away our Second Amendment rights, all under the name of protecting us under, the COVID-19 and all that kind of stuff. So from your perspective, do you feel like, okay, this is something that it's like we got to draw a line in the sand and just say enough's enough?
Yes, I believe that we're already past that line. That line is definitely it's a deep line in the sand right now. We got a canal through the desert. And I think all the patriots of America have already seen this, and they see it before I'm even telling you this right now. And it's time to make a stand right now. And a lot of people need to understand that this isn't a spectator sport. We can't just sit at home and watch this be done. We actually, us as an individual, have to get out the door and make our voices heard.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we've been talking about, and that we've been talking with a few different organizations about doing, is trying to rally together a lot of these protests that are going on out there. Because one of the things that's happening right now is we're seeing protests happening across the country, which is great. It's organic. It's kind of a grassroots movement and that sort of thing. But then it's like, how do we turn this into a big national movement? How do we turn this into where we're unified, pushing back against the government? And so can you kind of talk about like some of the stuff that we're kind of talking about implementing here?
Well, yeah, there's quite a few states that are already underway to have their own movements. But when it comes down to it, our voices are heard more when we do it in unison. So if we can get these different states together, and if we can talk to each other and call it the same thing, I think our voices will be that much more detrimental to these government officials that are trying to take our rights away. Because let's call it as it is, guys. They are literally trying to take our rights away. And a lot of people don't see it that way. They see it as, hey, they're going to keep us safe. But that's not something that I want to live with. I want my safety to be under my control. And I can protect my safety and other people's safety through my rights. And I think a lot of people throughout America see it that way as well, because if we give up our rights just for a little bit, that means that they're going to push that much further and that much further and so on and so forth. I mean, look at history. From the history of the world, there's always been someone trying to be tyrannical. And who's to say that it's not happening to us right now? I think people have been living in America for so long and loving it for so much. They love it so much that they feel as if it's never going to go away. And we can't live in that box. We have to understand that our freedom is only going to stay here for as long as we can protect it.
Yeah, and I kind of want to piggyback off of that a little bit as well, in the sense of, for me personally, when I'm looking at the big government response to coronavirus, I'm not, like, for me, obviously it's a major issue. They're literally taking away our constitutional rights. But the one thing that I always want to point out is that we still do have to take coronavirus seriously. We still do have to take proper precautions, practice, the proper social distancing, wear masks, take the proper precautions. So that way we can protect, those that are vulnerable and that sort of thing. So this is not saying throw everything out the window from that perspective. what it's coming down to is the government doesn't have the authority to take away our constitutional rights. There's nothing in the Constitution that says under certain circumstances, there's no constitutional rights. And to me, that's what really needs to be pushed back against. And so one of the things that we've been talking about doing, and you were just mentioning right here before, is you trying to unify together a lot of these protests that are going on to really allow the federal government to hear, like, okay, enough's enough. Let each of the states say, here, that's enough. And so that's one of the things that, we've been working with a few different organizations working on. How can we bring everybody together to be under, like you were saying, one name, one focus, essentially one group, so that way we can actually get our voices heard on a big scale, as opposed to being kind of like splintered off and everybody doing their own thing.
So what I believe that should be done is that we need to communicate. And once we start communicating with each other, we can all get on the same page. But, we have a lot of rallies going to be going on May 1st. And there's some rallies throughout the country that are going to be on around that date. And if we can get people together to move that date to the 1st, that's where the majority is happening, we can make our voices heard on a worldwide level. And yeah, think of it. The entire world is looking at us right now. It's not just our neighbors. If we fail, the entire world will fail. This right here, guys, we are painting the picture of history right now. And it takes an entire nation to stand up, and we have to do this in unison. A state here doing this and a state here doing that, that's great for state rights, but we need to stand up to all these tyrannical leaders and let them know that we're not going to back down. And you have to go through every last one of us to get what you want.
Yeah, and I think the thing that we have to remember too, America is the last beacon and the only beacon of true freedom and liberty in the world. And the fact that we're literally seeing every single constitutional right that is provided to us, like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, I went through the list earlier, all of those rights are literally being stripped away in the name of safety. And this is a major, major problem, because who knows how many of these rights we're actually going to get back in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years down the road. Again, all under the name safety. And so that's why this is so important, that we do have some of these protests, primarily just so we can let the government know, hey, look, enough is enough. We were willing to sacrifice for a short period of time in order to keep people safe. But now we're going on well over a month, sometimes longer, and they're talking about making this indefinite in a lot of places. It's like, come on, guys, let's bring this back. And so one of the things that we're trying to do right now is, like we were saying, try to get everybody under a unified message, a unified name. And so one of the things that we are putting out there is to go under the name Saving America Rallies, because that's ultimately what we're all trying to do, is save America from going down this tyrannical, authoritarian, new version of government. And so, I'm really excited about the name. I'm really excited to be hearing a lot of the other people that are kind of joining forces. But yeah, I mean, Jerry, like, what's your thoughts on, on the fact of what do we need to do in order to bring everybody together?
We all have to be on the same page as the same message that we want to send. And when it comes down to it, it comes down to you, the individual. You guys have to share this message. You have to get this out to your peers. If you personally do not do this, this is not going to happen. And when time is of the essence, guys, we have to do this as unison and be the patriots that I know all of you are. Step up to the plate, do your due diligence, and make this your responsibility, because when it comes down to it, it is your responsibility as an American citizen. It is your responsibility to protect these rights. It's not the government's responsibility. It's not the military's responsibility. It is yours as an individual, because you are the patriots that hold this nation together.
Absolutely. And that's where we need to be taking responsibility. We need to actually be making our voices heard. Remember, government is supposed to be, here in America, government is supposed to be a government by the people and for the people. And for whatever reason, these politicians have completely forgotten about that. And so that's really where our founding fathers had actually established us having the ability and the right to peaceably protest in order to combat this tyrannical government that we're literally seeing happen before our eyes. And so if you know of any rallies or protests that are happening pretty much anytime over the next week, even 2 weeks, try to get whoever's organizing those rallies in touch with us. We'll put contact information and stuff in the description below, so that way you guys can know how to get a hold of us and that sort of thing. But get them in touch with us so that way we can coordinate. That's going to be the key. If we can coordinate, we can actually make something really big and really huge and really cool happen and actually save our country, which is, again, is why we can have that unifying name, Saving America Rallies. And I think that that's vitally important.
Yes, I completely agree. And on top of that, even if there are some places that don't have rallies, like there's some places like New Jersey doesn't have a rally planned right now, guys, step up to the plate. Let's get this going. And May 1st, do this in unison. May 1st is the day that most of these rallies are already going on. If you guys have a rally going already, move that date. And if you guys don't have one, step up to the plate and make it happen.
Absolutely. And the one thing that both Jerry and I want everybody to be taking very, very seriously is to do proper social distancing. And yes. And from my perspective, and then Jerry, I'll let you kind of talk about it as well, but from my perspective, a lot of this comes down to, number one, we do need to take this seriously because of safety. That's priority number one. But then secondarily, it's so that way the opposition and the leftists and the progressives and the big government authoritarians don't have ammunition to throw back at us and discredit our message. Our message is supposed to be about freedom and liberty and us taking responsibility. But they're going to take away our freedom and liberty if we don't take responsibility. So we need to show them, hey, we can be responsible citizens. We can care about our neighbors, but without the government shutting us down from our freedom and liberty. So what are your thoughts on that, Jerry?
No, I agree completely. But on top of that, I think that the media is going to spin things any way that they want. So when I was in Lansing, they went out and said, hey, we were stopping ambulances and there were swastikas, which is not even close to being true. So what I'm calling for is go out there with your American flags, your don't tread on me flags and all that stuff. But also, just to stick it to the media, bring out peace signs. That's what we stand for. We don't want to be out here advocating for violence. We want peace, but we just don't want to be treaded on. So bring those peace signs out, and they have to try to edit that out. And not only that, take videos. Show people what we're out there actually doing. We're here to fight for America, for freedom, and our due process of having our own rights. Also, when it comes down to what we should be pushing for, guys, I see sometimes there's some other protesters that come out there and they're protesting the protest. I can't stress this enough that we cannot combat those people out there. Violence is not the answer. And if you're out there advocating for don't tread on me, they're doing the same thing that you're doing. They're using their freedom of speech, regardless of what they're saying. It's obviously not what you're standing for when it comes to, having our rights, but don't tread on me, guys. Don't tread on them, and they're going to try to tread on you. Ignore them. Do not let it escalate, because that's what they're there for. Yeah,
and to go on top of that too, don't argue with them. Don't yell. Don't be angry. Don't do that. Like, let them do their little protest. That's fine.
Yep.
You go do your thing. And my vision for this is really that this can be a very positive experience for people. No anger, no fighting, no, obviously no physical violence, no anything like that. Also, wear your mask. Stay 6 feet away. Don't just act like there's nothing to worry about, because there is, and that's why the government has responded in the way that it's responding. But the key is personal responsibility. Take care of yourself. Yes. Don't get into a fight. Don't argue. Don't go yelling at other protesters that might be disagreeing with you. Let them practice their First Amendment right. You practice yours, and just make your argument and your stance a stronger message than theirs. That's really what this comes down to.
That's right. Yeah, go out there and show that we are responsible enough to take care of ourselves, because apparently these governors don't see it that way, and they obviously should. But let's go out there and show this with an example. Show that we're not going to be treaded on. At the same time, we are here to take care of ourselves, and we don't need them.
Oh yeah. So if you're going to a rally and let's say you have access and maybe you've got some extra masks or you've got some extra face coverings or you've got something like that, it would be awesome to actually have like an organic way of sharing that. If you see somebody without a mask, tell them, hey, did you bring one? Maybe put that on. Don't gather into a really large group. Again, show the government that we don't need them to mandate that we behave in a certain way. We're just going to take that on ourselves and take that power away from them, and we're just going to be responsible citizens for what we're actually fighting for with all of this. And that, I think, is going to be key in all of this.
Yeah, and record it.
Yep.
Because you guys got to think of it. The real enemy here is the media. We have got to fight the media with our individual phone devices and our camera devices. Take videos and pictures of what we actually stand for. We stand for safety, and we stand with the Constitution. And if they're going to go against that, then this is what we got to do, guys.
Absolutely, and then also with the American Conservative Movement, which is the organization that I co-founded along with a few other great guys, we're actually going to be doing a live stream on our Facebook page all day on the 1st, and we're actually going to be having different people calling in from a lot of the different rallies across the country. So again, if the other side of it too is that if you take photos or you take any video and you're posting it on social media, use the hashtag Saving America Rallies, and we'll actually play those on our live stream. We're going to have a lot of people tuning in. We're going to have a lot of really awesome guests from across the country, really prominent conservative voices, but use the hashtag Saving America Rallies, and we'll actually post your video or your photos of your rally up during our live stream. So I highly, highly encourage you guys to do that. Again, the key is let's make our voices heard in a positive way in order to take back our rights that are slowly being, and I don't even want to say slowly, very quickly being taken away from us.
That's right. It's time for us to hit back, guys. And I mean that in the most positive, peaceful way I can imagine. And with this Saving America rally, guys, I think it's important to start getting that trending now. Get that Saving America rally starting right now because time is of the essence. And you guys got to start sharing this information immediately.
Absolutely. So again, let's try to coordinate together. If you know of any point people that are organizing rallies, let us know. You can always DM us. You can always contact us. Anything along those lines. But here's the thing. The key is let's coordinate. Let's be on the same page. Let's have a positive message. Let's practice proper social distancing. And let's actually make this a very positive event. But again, the key is we're pushing for freedom and liberty for everybody, including those people that we disagree with. So that's kind of what I wanted to close with. Any further thoughts, Jerry?
No, I think that's it. And you guys can reach me as well on Jerry Wayne AR14 on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yeah, definitely. And you can contact me at Jeff the GK, again, on all the socials, that sort of thing. And then we'll make sure that we post all the contact information so that way if there are any rally leaders or anything along those lines, contact us, let us know, and we'll coordinate. We'll post your specific rallies on our website, on our socials, all that kind of stuff. Again, the key is get the word out there, be unified, be working together, and be very positive. So, but yeah, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. Really excited about May 1st, the Saving America rallies, and again, use the hashtags and let's really make our voices heard.